The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of our Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. Before the days of Disney not knowing what they wanted to do with this channel other than continue to play Gravity Falls Marathon every weekend, we've seen the same 20 episodes over and over again. What is there left to show? This channel was actually doing okay. It actually had original content that aired new episodes, and sometimes movies every so often. But before this channel was Disney XD, it was called Toon Disney, and all it played was cartoons. This channel had no specific group they wanted to target. It was all just meant for children. But at night, they used to have a block called Jetix, where it was cartoons that played at a certain time period of the day that were more action and adventure focused. It was basically Disney XD's way of doing Toonami, opposed to the slice of life comedies and trash movie spin-offs of popular Disney movies that air during the day. This is how me and many other people were introduced to shows such as Digimon, Puka, and Witch. And then it was scrapped. In February of 2009, Toon Disney became Disney XD. In the beginning, the first year of Disney XD, I kid you not, this network did not know what they wanted to fucking be. They played The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, they played The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they played Phineas and Ferb, but I can't get off of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, y'all. Like, Disney used to stay playing them black ass shows. Bring it back, bring it back. But 2 years after the launch of Disney XD, there was an original show by the network that premiered called Kickin' It. And it was one of the things that ran my middle school days. Because of nostalgia, I love Kickin' It. It truly is one of the things that brought me comfort during that time period of my life, and I still like to watch it from time to time. But I would be the first person to tell you that it was mid.
You lift me off the ground. There was nothing that could ever bring me down. And when I listen to you, there is nothing that.
Come on, boys, get loud. 'Cause when the music starts bumping, the whole place will be jumping. It's my scene, you know what I mean. It's my scene, you know what.
Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and I'm back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you? My name is Harriyanna and welcome back to the pirate ship, also known as Harriyannahook's pirate ship. I am the captain, you are not my first mate. I don't got no first mate. Because y'all want to know why? Bring your ear close to the speaker so you can hear me clearly. Nobody is worthy of being the first mate. Hi, hello, how are you guys doing? My name is Harriyanna and I like to make content based off nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. Now, y'all have been wanting me to talk about Kickin' It for a hot minute. I've been wanting to talk about Kickin' It for a hot minute, and because bills are due, we're gonna talk about Kickin' It for a hot minute. Now, a quick disclaimer before we go any further in this video. Please do not take anything I say about this series to heart. These are just my opinions and how I feel about the series. These are just opinions on how I feel about the show at this stage of my life that I am in now. And it is okay to admit that things you like are bad. Y'all have been asking me to talk about Kickin' It for a while, but I notice when I do these kind of videos on shows that are highly requested, many of you get upset when I say something about said show that you don't like. And I noticed in my live streams that y'all were trying to persuade me into changing what I am going to say about these series. And no. And this is just an internet thing because I noticed that y'all tend to do this often with other content creators. Stop asking content creators for their thoughts and opinions on shows and movies, then get mad when they say something you don't like. I am allowed to form my own opinions on media, and so are you. The reason we have so many shows and movies out here is because everyone's tastes are different. Now, we're done with that. Let's get into the mess that we are about to get into. And that is the world of Disney's Kickin' It. And before we go any further, you have to know the foundation of this series. So, Kickin' It. What is it about? Kickin' It is a show about the students and the one teacher at the Bobby Wasabi Martial Arts Academy, which is known for being a horrible ass dojo that nobody wants to go to. I get it. Like, Bobby Wasabi was never there. Rudy was not a good teacher. The kids were annoying. I understand why nobody wanted to be there. The Bobby Wasabi Dojo was located in the strip mall in the fictional place of Seaford, California. Now, back in the day, in the Kickin' It fandom, we gonna get there. Somebody lied and put this on the show's Wikipedia page, saying that the show took place in San Jose, California, and we all were fooled. We all really believed that the show took place in San Jose, California. Fandom is hilarious. Anyway, most of the show took place after school and on weekends at the strip mall and the dojo, and every so often they'd be at school. It was basically Cobra Kai before Cobra Kai. And before anyone asks me, yes, I have seen Cobra Kai. Yes, I love it. But it is not my niche, which is why I don't post content about it on my channel. We can talk about the original Karate Kid movies, but Cobra Kai is a no. First, let's talk about the good. The characters. Most of them. Most of the main cast was just very fun. The cast worked pretty well together in my opinion. They were all naturally funny. They were able to bounce off of one another. The karate scenes and the fight scenes were great. I love them. They were very entertaining to watch. And this was the most Asian people that I have ever seen on Disney, okay? As martial arts is an important part of Asian heritage, I'm glad that the show often included Asian people within the storylines and such. Even though there was not one person in this main cast that was actually Asian, but we gonna get there. Next, it was hilarious. So much of this show actually being funny was a result of the main cast. The funniest moments in this show were the ones where it was them together, especially Jason Earls. Many of you guys are familiar with him on Hannah Montana and how he was on a one-on-one as well. So seeing that the kids in this cast were able to be on the same level of comedy as him was very impressive to see, because he has been acting way longer than any of them. Cause you know, he was grown on Hannah Montana. Now we gotta get into the bad. Oh, it's a lot of it. This show, it was kind of awful. But because I liked the characters so much, I stayed. That's the reason why I kept watching this show. I got attached to the characters when I was in middle school. It wasn't really the main characters that were an issue, in my opinion, but it was those day players and side characters. I liked the episode so much better where it was just them and not much of anyone else. But after doing some pondering, I realized what the main issue with this series was, and it was the writing. And the thing about it is that the problem with its writing for Kickin' It, it wasn't just a problem for this show. This was just an issue with all live-action Disney XD shows, in my opinion, with the exception of Lab Rats. Kickin' It's true downfall is that it was trying too hard to appeal to that male demographic that Disney so desperately wanted. And because of that, they did everything in their will that they could to try to appeal to this age group. That's where the show suffered from the most in terms of writing. Disney really wanted to have a bigger young male audience for their live-action media, as Disney wanted what Nickelodeon had. And this is coming from my childhood. I can confirm that this is true. Growing up, more guys just watch Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network for Kids and Fox TV. They even said Disney Channel is for girls, simply because the shows appealed to them more. Disney Channel and just Disney in general have always appealed to women and just not straight people, and it's been proven time and time again, especially when straight men start to go off about anytime Disney releases a movie or whatever the fuck about women being the main focus. Yeah, it shows so badly. Disney Channel does have a big male audience, but it's with its cartoons. Those live action shows, not so much. Which is partially why Disney XD exists. It was Disney's way of trying to appeal more to their male audience, and they failed miserably with this show. Back in the day, this show had a huge fan base. Y'all know how My Little Pony is targeted towards little girls, but grown-ass men ended up being the ones who took up a good amount of space in its fan base? Something like that happened here. Kicking It was targeted towards little boys, but most of its fan base was teenage girls. And it's actually very fucking hilarious. Because I was one of those teenage girls, okay? Yes, y'all, I was a Kickin' It stan. I was in the Kickin' It fandom. I do everything. This is literally what controlled my life when I was in the 8th grade, alright? And you want to know why this show's fandom was taken up by teenage girls? It was because of this ship right here, Kick. Kick is the ship between the main character, Jack Brewer, who we didn't get a last name for until later seasons in this show, so we just called him Jack Anderson. I'm pretty sure they gave him a last name because they didn't like the one we gave him. And also Kim Crawford. Another group of teenage girls simply also watched for the sake of Mateo Aries, who played Jerry, and we just liked him because he was Jada Smith's best friend, alright? We would not have cared about Mateo Aries if he wasn't connected to Jada Smith. That's just the truth, alright? But back to Kick. This ship is what kept most of us coming back. Y'all, I kid you not. Kickin' It was one of those Disney shows at the time with the most fan fictions on fanfiction.net. This was before the AO3 days, alright? And 95% of those Kickin' It fanfictions were about Kim and Jack's relationship. Most of the Kickin' It fanfiction writers did not give a fuck about karate. They did not put karate in their stories. Its audience did not care about anything else but this relationship. As the show kept trying to appeal more to guys and continued to fail, the people behind the show caught on to the fact that the teenage girls loved Kick and they began teasing us with more Kick moments. And then they actually did put them together in the end, which was nice. But back to the bad writing. The more it went on, the more gross out humor it included, and I don't know about y'all, but I don't find gross out humor funny. I don't find piss, fart, spit, and shit jokes to be funny. I never did as a kid, still don't as an adult, but that's just my personal preference. It's just not for me. Next, the show was racist as hell. The diversity in Kickin' It was just beyond garbage, okay? But then again, all the shows on Disney XD's diversity was terrible, so are we really shocked? No. Please tell me this. Why do you have a show that revolved around Asian heritage, but not one person in the main cast was Asian? Disney, please answer that question. Why couldn't they have made Bobby Wasabi, the owner of the dojo, be played by an actual Japanese man like they said he was? He was literally played by Pork Chop from iCarly. Y'all are so quick to call a black person with naturally almond-shaped eyes to be Asian fishing, but no, this shit was Asian fishing. This is a problem. This is racist. What was so hard about y'all casting actual Asian actors for this series? Instead, y'all went the lazy route and had a white man take a role from an Asian person. Next, we need to talk about the character of Falafel Phil. I'm not going to spend too much time on him simply because I want to be respectful, and I want to be respectful in the best way. But I'm just going to point out the main things about his character that were very off-putting. He is a man from a made-up country. Nothing wrong with that. But what we can infer from him coming from this made-up country, it seems to be very xenophobic because they were just very disgusting towards him. He was always shitted on by the adults and the kids in this show, especially the people that would come into his restaurant. His name was Falafel Phil, and he owned a falafel restaurant. Like, his personality revolved around falafel balls. It was strange. I remember he was even told that his job was awful. And y'all know that fake South Asian accent that Disney made Karan Barar do on Jessie? He did that. And he's played by an Iranian actor who does not speak like that at all. It's funny because this guy is actually on Cobra Kai now. The parallels. But Disney just has this ongoing issue of making fun of non-black people of color in this way. And it's gross, it's tired, we're over it. We don't need shit like this anymore. People stay talking about if Disney is gonna bring back Phineas and Ferb and whatnot. And we're like, no, because if Baljeet is gonna be the same way as he was then, just get rid of him. Baljeet's character is the issue. Next, we need to talk about Eddie. Eddie. Now, I want you guys to know this before I go any further. Alex Jones, who is Eddie's actor for the show, chose to leave because he did not want to act anymore. Not a problem. As the viewers of the show, we do need to respect his decision. That being said, his character was not great to begin with. Eddie literally was the fucking token black kid, like a bunch of these other shows on Disney. Alright? Issue with Eddie's character is that when it comes to the token black kid, or not just Disney, but just in a lot of kid shows in general, their only purpose in the series is to benefit their non-black friends. But Eddie's character didn't really feel that way in a sense because he was just there. Y'all know how so much of the time Andre from Victorious' character was just there? That was Eddie. But with Andre, he was a very likable character. Was Eddie likable? He was either one of these three things. Annoying, the butt of all the jokes, or just dull. Like, that's it. They didn't really give this kid much to work with. I don't blame him for leaving. But I could see why he left too, because he had the worst storylines. Like, his storylines were worse than Rudy's, and that's saying something. Also, he didn't really have much of a story on his own, as he usually just sidelined the other main characters. But the main reason why his character bothers me so much is because when he left the series, nothing changed. Like, they didn't even add in another person to fill in his spot when he was gone. He didn't really feel like he was a part of the Bobby Wasabi Dojo to begin with, because he always was the show's last priority. This show definitely played favorites like it did with Lab Rats when it came to writing for certain characters. And it really suffered when it came to the show's diversity. I already have an issue with Eddie being the token black kid, but his character in general just wasn't good. I personally think season 3 of Kickin' It was the strongest season, and that's sad to say because Eddie wasn't in it. But he didn't really contribute much of anything to the show in the end, so it's kind of irritating. It's a lose-lose situation. Eddie didn't really do much while he was there, and then when he left the show, nothing much changed. It's actually very tragic. The show lost some of its diversity when Eddie left the show, but also, it really didn't need him. Now we gotta talk about this show's true downfall. Kickin' It's true downfall was when Kim was written out of most of the last season. It had been announced that Olivia Holt, who played Kim Crawford, would leave the show to be on I Didn't Do It with Acacia Brindley's brother. Remember Acacia? Oh, Jesus. Don't get me started on that girl. Anyway, Olivia left to move on and do other things, which is another series, other Disney Channel original movies. But she did come back to this show in the end. And so did a good chunk of the show's fandom, including myself. We were done with Kickin' It. The other kids in the dojo were fine. There was nothing wrong with them. But remember how I said so much of this show had a big teenage girl audience? Olivia was the reason why we watched. We saw Kim Crawford as our self-insert in the show in a way. We mainly watched for Olivia and her scenes that she had with Leo Howard. But there were no more kick moments. Kim and Jack ran this show, and without one of them, it felt empty. As Kim's departure happened, it's when me and many others in the fandom realized the real reason we were watching it. We didn't really watch it because we liked the show. We watched it because we liked Kim and the impact that she had on it. Kim was the glue that held it all together. She worked well with the other main characters, and with Jack, we watched it for their friendship and their slow burn of a relationship, and it's honestly one of the best relationships that I have seen from a live action show from Disney. This was one of the highlights of the series, and without it, it suffered poorly. And honestly, Kim had the best storyline outside of Jack. As we're introduced to her, she was a part of the rival dojo, but she was tired of their nasty ass attitudes and came over to the other side. I really enjoyed her character development. She struggled with being the only girl in the dojo and not really having many female friends. She wanted to be perfect. She wanted to be great. I loved Kim so much. She's actually one of my favorite characters from a Disney live action series. So when she left, it hit me. I and many other people realized that we liked the show for Kim. We didn't care about much of anything else. If she wasn't there, we weren't either. Hi, I'm here to give my closing thoughts as usual. And I feel like I kind of have to fight for my life right now because I noticed that my opinions on this series were very strong. And I know a lot of you guys may not have liked what I have said about that, but I still do very much like this show, but I can admit when it was weak. And so much of that series just had to do with Kim just not being there, because I remember that I even found myself not really caring too much when Kim wasn't there to begin with. And then that just kind of came to the conclusion that I was just a fan of Olivia Holt because I literally just watched Girl vs. Monster for her. And I have watched her other projects as well, projects as well. And I do think she is a very talented actor. I really do like her as a person. I follow her on social media, been following her. I used to listen to her music. She is the reason why I really was just so interested in this show. And I truly am thankful for it as well, because Kickin' It was one of those shows that I watched when it was a very rough and weird stage in my life. And y'all, I'm not gonna give away nothing because I do talk about this in my documentary that I filmed the other week. Can't wait for you guys to see that as well. But this was a show at that time period that really did bring me a lot of comfort, and I realized that I didn't even really like that show all that much to begin with. It was just certain aspects of it, of why I enjoyed it. And I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know now, you do not have to like this or dislike that in order to enjoy something. If you wanted to watch Kickin' It for the karate, go ahead. There's nothing stopping you. If you wanted to watch Kickin' It for the sake of Kim and Jack's relationship, go ahead. There's nothing stopping you. If you wanted to watch it for Rudy, who was played by Jason Earls, who actually did a great job in this series, go ahead. There's no right or wrong way to enjoy media, because I remember somebody was like catching an attitude with me because when it comes to like Miraculous Ladybug and Descendants and everything like that, somebody had asked me, why do you like Descendants so much if you don't like the story? And I was like, I like Descendants so much because of the characters. Like, how you gonna tell me what I can and cannot fucking like? And I also really like the world building, the lore, many of the costumes, not all, but it was the story that bothered me the most about it, but I still pretty much enjoyed it. And same with Miraculous Ladybug, how I'm so invested in the other characters in the show, because I realized the main reason why I fell out with the show to begin with is because I just no longer really cared about Marinette and Adrian's relationship and how, y'all, I've been watching the show since I was 17. I'm 23 now and them motherfuckers still not together. I'm annoyed. I can't take it. It's irritating. And I realized that was why I fell out with the show. But in order for me to enjoy the show again, I ended up watching it for other aspects. I really love Julica's character. I love the band that's in the show. I really love Kagami. Y'all know I am Gabe in that trash. There is no wrong or right way to enjoy a piece of media. I enjoyed Kickin' It because I love that relationship within the series, and then I also enjoyed the stories that the fans of the show would write for it as well. And by the way, y'all are some really good writers for teenagers. Like, props to y'all. Y'all actually have great writing skills. I hope all the people that were writing Kickin' It fan fiction at that time period is still writing and creating good things, because some of those stories were better than a lot of the required readings that I had for school at that time period. And I have to thank Kickin' It because that fan fiction that I read during that time period is honestly what encouraged me to keep going with writing, because I was so impressed with what people could do with these characters from another show that wasn't theirs. This show did bring me a lot of comfort, and because of nostalgia, I still throw it on from time to time to enjoy it as well. There is no right or wrong way to enjoy media. That's all I really want you guys to take away from my perspective on how I feel about kicking it now as an adult. And I didn't want to come off across as one of those YouTubers that just get on here and hate on kid shows, because I don't do that. People that say that I do really just be missing the point and misinterpret what I do, because no, I really do care for children's media and whatnot, and I do think they deserve better content, because this show did have a racism problem. This show also did have a bit of a misogyny problem as well. But when it came to kicking it, I noticed when people would be on YouTube talking about bad Disney Channel show this, bad Nickelodeon show that, they only just focused on the bad. And I always try to make sure that I bring up the good within this series. And I think I have stood my ground and said what I said. I like kicking it, but I don't think it was all that great. And that's all right. So much of your stuff from your childhood that you convinced is good, it's not that good to begin with. A whole bunch of them High School Musical, Camp Rock is an awful ass movie. I don't care what no one says. But if you like it, you like it. There's nothing wrong with that. You may think Camp Rock is a cinematic masterpiece, while I think it's dog shit. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has different perspectives and everybody has different opinions. But when it comes to the subject of nostalgia and just, you know, family and children's entertainment and the things that we grew up watching, we're always in this weird situation where people are afraid to admit their favorite shows they used to watch were bad, and they're also afraid to admit that shows that they thought they were bad, they weren't necessarily bad, they just didn't appeal to them. Like Zeke and Luther. Zeke and Luther didn't really appeal to me. I honestly like it better as an adult as I did as a kid, but that period in my life, it just didn't appeal to me. It's just, I wish people would have more nuanced takes when it comes to children's media, especially when it comes to children's media from their childhood, because it's like everyone is so afraid to call the things that they enjoyed when they were children awful. I love the first Cheetah Girls movie. I prefer it over the second one, but I will sit here and tell you that so much of that movie was awful and it could have been better. But there's nothing wrong with being able to admit that. I think High School Musical 3 is the best of the trilogy. Many people think that the second one is the best. Some people think the first is the best. There's nothing wrong with that. We all are human, and because of that, we're all gonna have different thoughts and opinions on entertainment. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. The funny thing about this is because I literally could not sleep. Like, it was literally 4 fucking a.m. And I was like, I'm gonna make a video about kicking it, and I just started typing on my laptop all my thoughts and my opinions. But let me know how you feel about kicking it. Loved it, hate it, did you really just watch it for kick like I did? Let me know down below. I'm actually curious. If you guys wanna support me, I have donation links down below, and I also have a Patreon, have more exclusive content coming along the way over there. Another way you guys can support me is my store, my merch, harriyannahook.com. I'm currently wearing one of my new hoodies. This is a Daisy Rose Miraculous hoodie. This is my favorite part of it, the pig. That's my favorite part, along with that right there, and you know, the bag. You'll get a better look of it when it's on the site, but I will have the link to that down below. This should be up in what day is that? The end of April. I'll figure it out eventually. Another way you can support me for free is support the Progenies. It's a Descendants fan series. It's my fan series. The link will be down below. And another way you can support me for free is just to follow me on everything at Harriyanna, HARRIYANNA. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good night.
'Cause I work hard to get to this point in my life. I'm blowing up, so don't hate. Just congratulate.
The Powerpuff Girls will just blow your mind. Buttercup like villains 3 at a time. Bubbles will smile while kicking your butt, and Blossom will lead them out of their rut. Cherish and Powerpuff, 2 of a kind. Both wanna save the world before bedtime. From Townsville, Memphis, New York to LA. The Powerpuff Girls are just here to